8, a time for elite players to lead. Ed Cota is North Carolina's coach on the floor, but the Tar Heel fans would willingly assign him an even more important role. He led his team past the top seed, Stanford, and into today's South Regional Final. They will meet the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes' force of nature, Eric Coley. He carries his team on his shoulders. Today, he could carry them to the Final Four. There is a never say die design to Florida's attack, and Mike Miller embodies that approach. He beat Butler at the buzzer, and he led the Gators past top seed Duke. The Gators face the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and their man at the reins is Desmond Mason. The senior studies art in the classroom. He creates it on the basketball court. Unique talents all on display in the South and East Regional Finals today.
Presented by Holiday Inn Hotels and Resorts.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel in New York. Welcome to CBS Sports' continuing coverage of the road to the Final Four. Wisconsin and Michigan State earned this year's first 2 Final Four berths yesterday. Today, we will ticket the winners from the South and the East brackets for next Saturday's national semifinals in Indianapolis. With half an hour to tip time, the road to the Final Four is live in Austin, Texas, where number 8 North Carolina will battle number 7 Tulsa. The surprising Tar Heels have rallied behind the leadership and extraordinary passing skills of senior guard Ed Cota, who's looking for his 3rd Final Four trip in 4 years. The Category 5 Golden Hurricane have a senior leader of their own. Forward Eric Coley can shoot, rebound, and he led the nation with 121 steals this season. Then at 5 Eastern, we will go up to Syracuse, New York for the East Regional Final, a battle between number 5 Florida, conquerors of top-seeded Duke, and number 3 Oklahoma State. They call it Billy Ball for head coach Billy Donovan. Keep it fast, use the bench, wear them down, and that's just what the Gators did to top-seeded Duke. With 4 senior starters and superstar Desmond Mason, the Cowboys are driving toward their 6th trip to the Final Four. And I am joined today by my partner, the Lord of Locker Room Linguistics, Clark Kellogg, and by our special guest, former Georgia Tech coach Bobby Crimmins. The challenge today is for either of these games to live up to what we had on the air here yesterday.
And I think that's very capable of happening, Greg. Unlike the tournament to this point, I think both games have the potential to be just as close as the respective seedings are in these 2 matchups. And looking ahead to the Oklahoma State game, they've got inside and outside balance, and they also have tremendous experience. 6 of their 8 guys in their playing rotation are seniors, and because of that, I think they will present a 2-by-4 challenge to Florida. Stiff and thick challenge for Florida.
All right, now, I don't know if there's any such thing as darling coaches of the tournament, but if there is a darling, it probably would be Billy Donovan of Florida.
Greg, Billy loves to pressure defense. However, late in the game against Duke, down 4, he went to the zone. The Cowboys will attack his pressure. I believe he'll utilize the same strategy.
If Billy's watching, I didn't really mean to call him darling. As North Carolina and Tulsa continue their pregame preparations, let's take you to Austin and get the latest on this matchup from the men who will call the game for you, Dick Enberg and James Worthy.
Thank you, Greg. In the land of the Longhorns on this Sunday for the South Regional, a game that has David and Goliath proportions, and especially in terms of the tradition of these 2 teams in the tournament. First time ever the University of Tulsa has made it to the Final 8, where Carolina's been here 20 times, 14 trips to the Final Four, 3 national titles, and 4 other runners-up.
Well, when you look at the numbers of history, Carolina definitely has the edge, but a lot of those players in the history aren't here this afternoon, and the way Tulsa plays defense, they may be able to equal this game out.
Well, there are other David and Goliath proportions. That applies to size, certainly in biblical terms, and to today's game. It's a very short Hurricane team. Look at North Carolina, a sizable height advantage at every starting position.
Well, both teams have to utilize their strengths. Tulsa must play good on the perimeter with their defense, and North Carolina must pound the ball inside. They have 2 big players, and Brendan Haywood and Chris Lang, who must produce. news. North Carolina leading the nation in field goal percentage, and they must continue to do just what you see on the screen with Haywood. But I think the player that must step up, he's been playing pretty good so far, but Chris Lang must take advantage of the smaller players. He may be matched up with Eric Coley. He must take him inside and dominate.
Well, let's go back to New York, our own David and Goliath, and beware, Clark Kellogg, Gumbel's got rocks in his pocket.
Jack!
They're soft rocks, and they're small.
Thank you, Bunch. Yeah, North Carolina, do you buy this David and Goliath thing?
Not really, because I like the fact that this is a contrasting style matchup, size versus speed. It's the classic matchup, and I typically tend to, if you can't have both size and speed, I would err on the side of speed, and that's what Tulsa has to utilize. Full throttle for 40 minutes and try to wear down, I think, the bigger North Carolina squad.
That's our ongoing behind-the-scenes argument. We'll pick it up later. In the regional final doubleheader played yesterday in Albuquerque and Auburn Hills, 3 of the 4 teams came from the Big Ten Conference. 2 of them have advanced to Indianapolis. Let's check out. Welcome back to the road to the Final Four, everyone. North Carolina is a team which barely made the tournament. Now the Tar Heels are just 1 win away from the Final Four. Freshman Joseph Forte, the ACC Rookie of the Year, is one key to their success. He's a young man blessed with special basketball skills. And as Clark explains, Forte knows exactly what he wants to do with them.
Try to be the best that I can be. I think I was blessed with a talent, and it's my duty to make sure I get all the ability out of it, and I'm trying to do that.
Joseph has been a great addition to our team, and I think he's something, the type of player that our team lacked last year. I'm really happy for Joseph that he has had such a good freshman year, and he's only going to get better.
It might be hard to improve on Joseph Forte's first year. He was the only freshman ever to lead the Tar Heels in scoring. Yes, even he didn't do that.
I try to keep it in perspective. I came in to Carolina and they needed a shooting guard. You know, Mr. Jordan, he may not have come in the time, but he needed a shooting guard. So it's just different timings, and I take advantage.
Forte honed his high school game at Washington, D.C.'s renowned DeMatha Catholic High School. His mother moved the family there from Atlanta so her son could attend the school.
And when you find out that your child has a craft or has an ability, you want to get that ability nurtured as best as it possibly can be nurtured.
DeMatha coach Morgan Wooten sees something special in this young man.
He certainly has a wonderful future in the game of basketball. But the beauty is, he's more than just a basketball player. I think he's got a wonderful future in life because he has great people skills, and he realizes there's more to life than just basketball.
I can look at him, look in his eyes, and see this is a good person, and that means a lot to me. That means a whole lot to me.
I love my mother to death. I do anything for her. She doesn't understand how much I appreciate what she's done for me, and how I understand that this is all from her making that move. So my mother's been there for me even before I started playing basketball, and she'll continue to be there for me.
To hear Joseph say, he and I always end the conversation with, "I love you," and just to hear him say that, that's a form of support right there, and it makes me feel real good.
I'm very proud, you know, I feel as though it's me out there, you know, when I see him on TV or whatever, because that's just how close we are, and that's just, you know what I mean, how happy I am for him.
The love and support of his family gave Joseph the confidence he needed to compete and thrive at storied North Carolina.
I'd rather have it than not have it. You know, I could be a guy wishing I went to Carolina, wishing I had basketball talent, so I'm so happy that I am that guy, and I love, you know, the cameras, the big lights, you know, it's all about the showtime as far as I'm concerned. I still have a long way to go, a very long way to go, and it won't be just here at Carolina where I set my mark, but hopefully they'll be able to talk about me like they talk about the great ones.
And from Austin, Texas, as North Carolina gets set to take on Tulsa, Joseph Forte and his teammates go through the warm-up and try to revisit very familiar ground for North Carolina Tar Heels. They hope to be headed to the Final Four. And Clark, what do you see as the Merrill Lynch keys to this North Carolina-Tulsa game?
Well, it's kind of like trying to pick out.
In Tulsa, Tulsa's 89 seasons, the Final Four only a distant dream. But this year, the Golden Hurricane has stormed to new heights. Their spirited young coach, Bill Self, has urged a school record 32 wins. Tulsa has never been this far down the road. Their spark is a Bronco-busting basketball tear from Eufaula, Oklahoma. Cowboy Eric Coley, only 6'5", but riding high, breaking down the will of opposing spirit while spurring Tulsa's high hopes. Perennial power North Carolina needs no roadmap to the Final Four. Tar Heel legend Dean Smith's hand-picked replacement Bill Guthridge is recovering from a season that fanned criticism and complaint and lofty demands for a successor's success. The Heels are led by a Brooklyn-savvy senior point man who's been to the Final Four twice before. Ed Coda's value measured equally with critical points, 1,000+ assists, and crucial court command. Tulsa is fiery and feisty, undersized, underestimated, mid-major tournament underdog with Indianapolis set squarely in its sights. North Carolina has danced this dance before and knows best how sweet the music can be. The race to Indy is on. The Final Four to the winner. Center on the campus of the University of Texas, 16,000 to see the final of the South Regional. The number 8 seed North Carolina playing its best basketball of the season here in the tournament. Number 7 seed Tulsa, they've lost only 4 times all year by a total of only 7 points. North Carolina advancing with a come-from-behind win against the University of Tennessee on Friday night, and Tulsa with its ferocious defense, very impressive in eliminating Miami on Friday evening. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with James Worthy. It should be a very interesting matchup. Speed and defense against height and tradition. For North Carolina, they're here because their senior leader in the backcourt came up with some big points on Friday night.
I'm Ed Coda, University of North Carolina. I play point guard, and my job is to keep everybody involved.
Capel inside, over Slay, score!
When nobody's available, I take over.
Coda scores! The veteran from Brooklyn.
Well, there's no question that Ed Coda must lead this young Tar Heel ball club. He survived against Missouri, against Stanford, hit some big shots against Tennessee, but I don't think he's seen the pressure he's going to see against Tulsa, and I hope he got a lot of sleep because the pressure is going to be very intense this afternoon.
A lot of that pressure from the senior leader for the Hurricane. He breaks horses during the summer. He breaks down opposing offenses during the basketball season.
I'm Eric Coley, University of Tulsa. I play power forward, and that means I got to rebound. A hurricane warning has been issued.
Inside to Coley, what a setup.
Well, Dick, you know, most people won't admit it, but Eric Coley really intimidates you because he doesn't have to score that many points to dominate a game. He's tough. He has a lot of energy, and his teammates build off of that. It's going to be very interesting to see who matches up the intensity against Eric Coley.
Tulsa trying to get to its first Final Four. North Carolina looking to be in the Final Four a record 15th time.
Enterprise? You rented our car from Enterprise?
Yeah.
Why Enterprise?
Because they pick us up. Free.
A free pickup? Wow. They ought to be number 1.
They are number 1.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
When the world's largest search engine went looking for an e-business partner, guess who they found? Dell. We know how he works. Visit Dell.com.
Dear Mr. Editor, what's going on with the cartoon department? Oh boy, oh boy. I'd like to have the Monday paper delivered on Monday, not on Tuesday. Yesterday you said it's going to be 60 degrees. Then when I go out, I'm freezing. Thanks for nothing. Harry. understand.
Microsoft is working to develop internet software that listens. In the future, everyone will have a say. Go get 'em, Harry.
At Morgan Stanley, Dean Witter.
Land of the Longhorns. Which team will hook a Final Four berth? North Carolina or Tulsa? Bill Guthridge, 62 years of age, the head coach, taking over for Dean Smith at North Carolina, has been to the Final Four as a player at Kansas State, of course as an assistant to Dean Smith, and also in his first year as head coach. And here's his starting lineup. And it's big on the front line, featuring Capel at 6'8", Haywood, the big 7-foot center who led the nation in field goal percentage, and Chris Lang at 6'11". In the backcourt, Ed Cota, only one of 3 men in college basketball history with more than 1,000 assists. The brilliant freshman, Joseph Forte, the Atlantic Coast Conference Freshman of the Year. For Tulsa, they're led by 37-year-old Bill Self. In his third year, he played at Oklahoma State and is regarded as one of the top young basketball minds in the country. His lineup for this regional final, built on quickness and athletic ability, and Eric Coley fits all of that description at 6'5". The only big man is Brandon Kurtz. He is 6'10", a junior college transfer from Bakersfield, California. The 3-guard offense, they can all shoot from the perimeter. Greg Harrington, he's the playmaker. Marcus Hill, and defensive specialist Tony Hurd. Let's go to Spencer Tillman.
All right, Dick, this just in. Just moments ago, I was speaking with Tulsa's athletic director, Judy McLeod. She understands that success breeds opportunity. That's why she is prepared to offer her head coach, Bill Self, an extended contract, reconstructed contract, mid-next week. It will happen. She on it that, hey, look, I know he may not be happy with it should we win, but, hey, I can't wait that long. This also happened moments before that. I was speaking with Bill Guthridge. Up comes Self. He interjected in the conversation and said, hey, coach, I know you've been here many times before. Do you have any advice for a newcomer? Guthridge replied, not in word, but just with a sheepish grin that spoke volumes.
We're set to go in Austin, Texas. The Hurricane of Tulsa, the Tar Heels of Carolina.
CBS Sports exclusive.
Crew of veteran officials for this regional final: Andre Patillo, Tom O'Neill, and Tom Eads. And we're underway with Carolina in blue, Tulsa in white. Haywood against Kurtz. And Tulsa will have the first offensive try.
Well, Dick, this is going to be a game if North Carolina can overmatch Tulsa inside and pound it inside and not turn the ball over, they will have some success. Tulsa, on the other hand, must turn the ball over and create the tempo against North Carolina. It must be very fast.
The center, Kurtz, from outside, and you can see how Coley can fly in there for the offensive rebound, but it's off Coley to North Carolina.
Well, Eric Coley can play anybody on the floor with his athleticism. He's a player that can play a guard, 2-guard, small forward, and today he's playing 6'10", Chris Lang.
This is Lang outside. He's at 6'10". They list him at times at 6'11". Cota inside from Forte. Everyone trying to get a touch on the first possession.
And I really don't understand why they're not going at Eric Coley right away. Brandon Kurtz is a pretty good defender inside, but Chris Lang against 6'5" Eric Coley should not be standing on the perimeter outside the 3-point line.
Into Chris Lang. He has a good jump up. The pass is to Haywood. Does it count? No! The 35-second clock expired before Haywood could slam it down.
And I know Brandon Haywood is a high percentage shooter, but Chris Lang, who finally goes on the pick and roll, you see the clock at 1 second. He doesn't get it off in time. That was good execution, but a little bit too late.
Marcus Hill on the outside. Here's Coley, not a good outside shooter. Harrington is. Inside to Kurtz over Haywood, and Tulsa leads 2-0 as Brandon Kurtz has the first goal of the game.
Brandon Kurtz has really developed. A lot of people don't look at him as an offensive threat, but he can shoot the ball from the outside. He also has nice little jump hooks inside. He may be the neutralizer against Brandon Haywood, so Chris Lang must be effective early.
Coda into Haywood, and a push from the backside from Kurtz. He has the first foul of the game.
Well, Brandon Kurtz must take away the low post position. He was trying to that time. He had it established early, gave just a little extra push with the hands. Now that's going to be a factor for Coach Bill Self. He must keep Brandon Kurtz out of foul trouble. At 6'11", he's the tallest guy he has, besides D'Angelo McDaniel, who's another big body without a lot of playing time.
This is Forte, the ACC Rookie of the Year. Into Haywood, short jumper, and it's not there. Rebound underneath by Chris Lang, using his height advantage to tie it at 2.
That's going to be a key. North Carolina must use their size, not only posting up, but also on the offensive boards. Now there's Coley over the top of Chris Lang, and Chris Lang is down with an ankle injury. He came down on that ankle. That could be critical. A lot of pain there on the face.
It's Chris Lang, who has been plagued with injuries and illness this past year.
Well, he's going to have trouble playing defense laterally against Eric Coley. Eric Coley very mobile, and Chris Lang not used to playing that type of defense. Right there, looks like he came down just on his own, and he's still down. Eric Coley creating all types of havoc with his athleticism, and Chris Lang not used to playing that type of ball player.
He'll be replaced by the freshman Julius Peppers, the star defensive end on the North Carolina football team. This Lang is just what else can go wrong for him. He came back from Europe, had an illness, was very concerned in a darkened hospital room. Then he had shin splints.
There it is again. Oh, he does come down on Eric Coley's foot there. You're going to watch the right side of your screen. Watch the right foot come down on the left foot of Eric Coley. Right there, he kind of turns it over, but a critical part to this game. Chris Lang will be interesting to see if he'll be able to return.
45, Julius Peppers, who has given Bill Guthridge some terrific minutes, and there he is. He's blocked by Kurtz. Here comes Tulsa leading 4-2. Tony Hurd inside to Kurtz. Solid move by the senior center to give the Golden Hurricane a 4-point early lead.
Now, Dick, those were some Kevin McHale moves out of Minnesota. Great footwork and the body against Haywood. Haywood's going to have to play some defense in the post.
Jason Capel, his father, the coach at Old Dominion, is here to cheer him on. Coda to Peppers. Forte's first shot, well short. Marcus Hill the other way for Tulsa. Fires a 3. Peppers rebounds. He had 6 points and 6 rebounds off the bench in the win against Tennessee.
And without Chris Lang in the game, he would normally turn around and shoot the jump hooks, whereas Julius Peppers not able to shoot over anybody. Turnover inside.
Kurtz fronting Haywood, forces the turnover. Hill takes it inside over Peppers. And a block against the bulky freshman for North Carolina.
Well, that's the quickness of Tulsa, and they're starting to create the tempo. They're getting the ball out in transition, and if you are not ready to play, Julius Peppers late getting over there, and the block is on. Good drive to the basket by Marcus Hill, a lefty avoiding the charge. Julius Peppers a little late now. You can't afford to get Peppers in foul trouble now either, because you don't know if Chris Lang will be returning. 2 power forwards in trouble.
Sugar Hill from Tulsa's B.T. Washington High School, and it's last touched by North Carolina. So the miss by Hill, but another offensive opportunity with Tulsa leading 8-2 early.
North Carolina cannot afford to let Tulsa get out to a big lead. Tulsa is known to get out with their defense, capitalizing on the turnovers of their opponents. They have the ability to jump out 20-5, 20-10 leads early in the game.
They've averaged nearly 21 turnovers a game as Tony Hurd rattles out. Peppers for North Carolina.
One of the main threats taken away from North Carolina with Chris Lang not in the post against the smaller Eric Coley.
And a whistle away from the ball inside will go against Tulsa. And it's on David Shelton, who is just into the game. Shelton is the leading scorer for Tulsa, although a non-starter. Super Dave, the 6th man, averaging just under 14 a game. He's from Cincinnati. 55, D'Angelo McDaniel, the sophomore from Oklahoma City. He's 6'10", comes in. Marcus Hill goes out. So now it's Tulsa with good height on the floor. Forte wide open for an easy basket. His first of the game.
Good execution from baseline out of bounds. But as you mentioned, D'Angelo McDaniel coming into the game at 6'10", another guy who's the second best post-up defender for Tulsa against Haywood.
Excellent block by North Carolina, and it goes off the leg of Tony Hurd. It'll be the Tar Heels ball when we come back. 4 minutes played, 4-point Tulsa lead.
What are you laughing at?
Back this game with historical proportions. The first time ever that a number 8 has played a number 7. 8 is Carolina, 7 Tulsa. Let's get a report on the condition of Chris Lang. Spencer?
Well, Dick, as we saw, Chris Lang came down on top of Eric Coley, twisting that right ankle. That is trainer Mark Davis you're looking at. He's putting a half-inch elasticon wrap around that and then a 1-inch tape job on top of that. It's going to be very restrictive, I can tell you from personal experience, but he's going to try it one more time.
Back to the action as North Carolina with the ball. That last block was by the big center, Brendan Haywood. Here's Forte. Takes it in for the 10-footer, and it's 8-6. Forte, as a freshman, the leading scorer for North Carolina.
North Carolina responding well to the little half-court trap. They kept the floor spread out and passed the ball without putting it on the floor, and that will work in your favor. Tulsa does a good job when you put it on the floor, getting in and anticipating the passing lanes.
Harrington penetrating the defense. Dishing off underneath. Shelton unable to hit. McDaniel rolls out. The freshman or sophomore from Oklahoma City, no luck on his follow shot.
And don't let the height of Tulsa fool you. They had 40 points in the paint in their last outing because they're so active and always moving. They put themselves in great rebounding position.
Now you see how tough and tenacious that Tulsa defense can be as their center, starting center, Brandon Kurtz returns, and McDaniel back out.
But one thing that Tulsa does not want you to do, they don't want that ball to get inside the three-point line. They're very good on the perimeter, but inside you can utilize and expose them inside when you get it off the perimeter.
9 on the shot clock as Jason Capel hits the 3, and North Carolina leads for the first time.
One of the key factors of the ball game, Carolina must shoot the high percentage that they shoot. They cannot turn the ball over. Jason Capels has had a great NCAA tournament, shut down Jacobson and Stanford, and now he's shooting the ball well for North Carolina.
Marcus Hill on the back door misses the layup, but is fouled. Brendan Haywood has his first.
Tulsa is so quick. They're so good at making the defense react, and they dictate everything with their defense. But on the offensive end, they really move well without the basketball.
Here's a man, Marcus Hill, has an unusual hobby. He collects athletic shoes. He has over 100 pair of basketball shoes and has 30 of them that he rotates. They're active as Lang comes back into the game. Haywood will be given a breather. That's good news for North Carolina fans as the shoe man Hill tries to give Tulsa the lead and does. 10-9.
There's a lot of foot odor pads in there in that closet.
Didn't need to go down that road.
But it's good to see Lane back, even though he's going to be restricted somewhat with the tight tape job he has on. He's back in the ball game, and apparently he's posting up inside against Brandon Kurtz.
Peppers out to give the outside screen to Capel. There's that Coley, and Coley not quite able to get a full grip on the ball, and as Capel pulled away, he drew the foul the first time Coley.
Well, one thing you're not going to be able to do is put the ball on the floor against Tulsa. You must learn to pass the ball around the perimeter, and that's even difficult the way they anticipate the passing lanes. They switch everything. See, they don't mind switching any size. Then they get you in a position where you can't do anything like in the corners.
Peppers and Capel playing catch with 17 on the clock. Tulsa leads 10-9 early here at the University of Texas. Capel, well done, and North Carolina back in front by 1.
Well, Dick, every time you notice the ball out of Ed Coda's hands, you're going to see the struggling Tar Heels trying to get into some offense. Capels has the ability to create off the dribble.
Shelton for 3, and over the back is Coley. And that's going to cost Eric Coley, the defensive star for Tulsa, his second foul. At the 13:29 mark, Coley will come out.
Well, Jason Capels has been a very critical aspect of this ball club because he does have size and he can put the ball on the floor. And when Chris Lang was out with his injuries, he had to play a little power forward, so he's accustomed to different styles.
Greg Harrington returns for Coley, and now Tulsa is really small.
North Carolina with one of their small lineups, with the exception of Chris Lane. They have Peppers at 6'7", a little smaller, that can play big.
And Forte got himself trapped in the corner. That's lethal, and Hurd took it away. Kurtz at the other end. Knocked away, and Forte up with it for the Tar Heels.
Well, Dick, there are certain areas on this basketball floor where you cannot get the ball against Tulsa. Any 4 corners they're going to trap, and they do it well, usually forcing a turnover.
Coda unable to hit the Coda floater. Harrington to the other end, and the foul. Now they're going to call it a travel on Greg Harrington, the sophomore point man. Bill Self not at all happy with the no foul call.
Well, a lot of players try to get away with dragging that last foot. You know, they take the legal 2 steps, but then they drag the foot along, and referees are spotting that.
Inside to Lang. The jump hook is specialty. It's knocked out of bounds by Tulsa. Tulsa started with a lead, hitting 4 out of 6 from the floor, but they're 0 for 5 since, as North Carolina with a 9-2 run. Julius Peppers out, and Haywood returns.
And those of you who are watching this very stingy Tulsa defense, you notice when the ball goes inside to a post player, the guard that's passing through will double back and try to steal the ball, and there's a turnover as
Shelton
we speak.
Feeds it ahead to Hill. Hill underneath to Kurtz, and Tulsa leads 12-11.
See, they're just so tenacious. Look at the denial of Coda.
Those are the fans at the Reynolds Center at the University of Tulsa, that sparkling new facility. Some 5,000 cheering in unison from a few hundred miles to the north. Knocked away, but right to Coda, out to Capel for 3. Rebound Kurtz. Kurtz with 6 points to lead Tulsa early. Harrington. Oh, what a pretty move. Greg Harrington. .5 minutes to play in this first half. Tulsa by 3.
Right now, Tulsa's creating the tip ball. Carolina cannot afford to let Tulsa force the turnovers, and then they capitalize on it.
Forte, tough shot for the freshman.
Well, like he was in orbit when he made that shot. Just off balance. What an athlete, and that's something that must be done against this pressure defense. You got to find the gaps and attack immediately. You just can't find the open areas and hold on to the ball. You got to do something with it.
Tulsa playing without Eric Coley, although he's checking in now at the scorer's table. 2 fouls on Coley in the early minutes. Kurtz with 6 points already.
Look at the move. Step under. Oh, Brandon Kurtz demonstrating some great footwork, down work. He said that he was not afraid to play against North Carolina, and there's a cheap foul on Shelton.
David Shelton nails Brendan Haywood as they went back to the other end, and the foul on Shelton, who appeals his case. 8 points for 6'10" center Brandon Kurtz to lead Tulsa to a 16-13 lead. Eric Coley leading the Tulsa Cheers. Over $8 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. Let's go back to the incident that involved Haywood.
Well, there's a little bump It didn't look like much, but apparently the elbow hit the midsection, or either the big fella's been taking some pretty good acting classes.
So 5 team fouls on Tulsa, only 2 North Carolina. As Haywood wide open for the throwdown, and 16-15, his first points.
So far, both teams are doing what they must do. North Carolina pounding it inside, Tulsa forcing the turnovers.
Hill with a drive over Haywood. It's 18-15. 5 points for Marcus Hill.
And that's taking it right into the teeth of the defense over Haywood. And that's the quickness of Tulsa. They're very explosive, and they don't hesitate on the offensive end.
Dante Shelton, number 12, the smallest of the Golden Hurricane at 5'10", is in the game. And there's the steal by Coley. And he dribbled the ball on the sidelines. Coley, who has set a new Tulsa record for steals. Paul Pressey's record erased, and a new WAC record for most steals, as Tim Hardaway's mark is no longer in the book.
Well, there's the out-of-bounds play, and you can see his foot barely touches the line, but Eric Coley, you cannot put the ball on the floor. He's all over the place. It reminds me of a rover or safety on a football field, the guy that can just go out and do whatever he wants to, and he does it well for Tulsa.
Julius Peppers back in for North Carolina. Chris Lang back on the bench. Inside, almost thrown away. A good job by Capel to save on the tap to Forte.
Well, see, subconsciously in your mind, because of the scouting report and the video, before you make a pass, you're thinking about where they may be or what lane they might be anticipating. Getting very physical down low with Kurtz and Haywood.
Down to 5 on the clock. The pass to Peppers. Beautiful assist from Cota, the all-time assist leader for North Carolina. He's led the ACC 4 consecutive years.
And that's the leadership that Cota knows he must supply for the Tar Heels, setting people up, running the offense, recognizing what must be done on both ends of the floor.
Coley with a short jumper, not there. Tapped out of bounds by Kurtz of Tulsa.
Well, on that last play, Dick, Peppers, who can jump. Now you're going to see Ed Cota come off the pick of Haywood, and the defense tries to anticipate. North Carolina doing a good job of beating Tulsa on the secondary offense.
Off the bench, this defensive end for North Carolina, the freshman Peppers, in his last 25 shots has made 19, most of those from close range to be sure, but he's really given some unexpected big help to North Carolina. And a foul underneath brings Bill Self to his feet as Kurtz goes down, and I believe it's going to be on the big center for blocking.
Well, I'm not sure if he called a personal foul on one player or a double foul on both, but they're both for battling. Brandon Kurtz will not back down. He said it himself. He is not afraid of the tradition of the Tar Heels, and he's showing some toughness in the post.
It is a double foul. Each man now with the second foul. Brendan Haywood with 2, and his counterpart Brandon Kurtz with 2, and Kurtz will be rested.
Well, Haywood and Kurtz cannot afford to get in foul trouble. 2 big guys that produce for both teams.
North Carolina trailing Tulsa by a single point with 8:45 left in this opening half. Cota spurned the jump shot in the lane.
Just keep an eye on Coley. He's always anticipating. He always stays around the basketball. There he is right there, coming again.
And a reach-in foul as Capel tried to maneuver for the jumper. And it'll go on Tony Hurd, his first.
When you speak of Tulsa's big man in Brandon Kurtz and North Carolina's big guy in Brendan Haywood, you wonder which team could afford to lose the other. In this game, I don't think either can afford it. Brandon Kurtz has already proven he can score over Haywood, and Haywood, we know he shoots a high percentage at 73%, so both teams need their big guys today.
Capel ties it at 18. Carolina now in the 1-1, and the Tar Heels have committed only 3 team fouls. So the early jump for Bill Guthridge's team at the charity line.
And Chris Lane comes back into the ball game. Now he has a nice jump hook inside and can score, but you wonder with that tape job on it so tight whether he has the lift that he feels comfortable with without thinking about it when he gets the ball in post.
Capel with the 2 free throws, now 5 in the game, and North Carolina back in front 19-18. There's Jason's father, who is the head coach at Old Dominion, Jeff Capel, and another son, Jeff Jr., was a standout and captain at Duke University, a basketball family.
And I can tell you from experience, having your family around, particularly in the NCAA tournament, in town with you, whether you're too big to admit it, it really makes a big difference when you have particularly mom and dad who knows you better than anybody.
McDaniel back in, the young center, as the long jumper by Marcus Hill, and Max Owens, just in for North Carolina, fouled him, and that'll send the Tulsa outside shooter to the line for 3.
Well, you have to respect Marcus Hill's outside presence. He can knock the shot down, but you don't want to foul a player out that far and give him 3 opportunities at the free throw.
Tatai at 19 misses the first. Following today's action, get online and chat live with Clark Kellogg at 8:30 Eastern Time. He'll wrap up this weekend's action and look ahead to the Final Four. Just click on chats at cbs.sportsline.com or America Online keyword CBS Sportsline. You can bet Clark Kellogg will have some meaty comments for you to chew on heading toward the Final Four.
Well, Clark Kellogg, the computer with tennis shoes. That's what I call him. He's got it all upstairs.
2 out of 3 for Marcus Hill, and Tulsa back in front, 20-19.
So far, Ed Cota has demonstrated poise and patience setting up the Tar Heels. Now, this is where they must take advantage. When you get Tulsa in a set defense, even though they're scrambling and switching, you slow the tempo down, get the ball in Cota's hands. Now is where they have trouble.
Cota up the lane, trying to set up Chris Lang, and Lang bobbles it out of bounds. Timeout, 7:44 left before the intermission. Tulsa by 1. Back in Austin with our game summary, and both teams good shooting ball clubs during the season, proving that early today. Somewhat a surprise, 14 points to 8 for Tulsa in the paint. Any early impressions?
Well, they forced those turnovers, and that's what they've done in the first half, and then they get you in transition. But because they move in all the time and they're very active, they put themselves in position to score in the paint. No one thought that they would be outscoring the Tar Heels thus far.
They called him Still Bill when he was a point guard in high school and at Oklahoma State. Bill Self. A lot of rumors surrounding him regarding the opening at Georgia Tech. Too high for Eric Coley, the pass from Harrington. Forte back in the game for North Carolina with the ball.
North Carolina saving their energy a little bit and going to a zone, but with Coley's leaping ability, you have to watch for alley-oops. That one was there just a little bit too high. Now this is where Tulsa has the advantage. They put the ball out of Ed Cota's hands, and you'll watch the pressure and the denial of Tulsa's stingy defense.
Capel had to fight for that shot, and the rebound taken away from Harrington by Coley to Hurd. Deflected outside to Marcus Hill. He's short, and Capel.
But you see the shot that North Carolina was forced into taking. Ed Cota was denied. He needs to have the basketball 95% of the time because Tulsa will capitalize without Ed Cota handling it.
6:45 remaining in the first half. A 1-point game. Tulsa in the lead. Cota slips inside, and North Carolina on the 7th lead change of the first half jumps up 21-20.
And that's a smart play by Ed Cota because he realizes now that they're trying to take the perimeter away, so they're playing defense on the top side, and he's able to cut back door. The zone for North Carolina kind of slows Tulsa down a little bit. They don't get a chance to utilize their quickness unless they're driving in the gap and pass it off like that. Missed layup.
Long pass to the other end to Capel. Can he save? Yes, to Peppers. What a oh my, this big 270-pound football star. His agility underneath to rescue the pass and make 2.
A guy that size with that much soft hands, the ability to create that shot for himself under the basket with the softest of touch.
Peppers faked by Hill, who comes up short on his jumper, and Forte hands off to Ed Cota.
Julius Peppers may not be the most valuable player on this team, but I think he's been the most valuable addition as a walk-on to come on and produce like he has.
A takedown inside as Lang took the pass. Shelton with a foul.
Well, Julius Peppers doing it all for North Carolina. Look at the pass to Cota off the back door, relieving the pressure. And then look at the soft move Good save by Jason Capel. And then Julius Peppers in desperation with a soft touch. It looked like he had a little infant in his hand. He just kind of laid it in the basket.
This young man led the Carolina football team as a freshman in 10 tackles for a loss. Also had 6 sacks, 50 total tackles. Front end is missed by Chris Lang, and out of bounds to North Carolina as they get a break.
Well, one thing, when you're playing with a sore injury, particularly the ankle, you always feel it on every little move you make, particularly at the free throw line, when you have to bend down a little bit. Anytime you have to give yourself a little lift, and that's something that some players can block out. Right now, Chris Lang is still feeling a little pain and is affecting his shots.
There's a lane violation against Chris Lang of North Carolina.
Well, the inability to move like he wants to. It all started when he had to defend Eric Coley, and he's not used to playing 6'5" guys who make him move laterally. That time he could not get out of the lane. We wonder how much pain he's experiencing.
Charlie Davis at 6'7", Kevin Johnson at 6'7", now in for Tulsa. Shelton picked up his 3rd foul moments ago. He's their leading scorer. He's gone to the bench. Different lineup for Bill Self as Swanson from outside, and the little sharpshooting guard from Wagner, Oklahoma has the 3, and the game is tied again.
Well, Swanson is known as a defensive specialist, but he can also score. Playing inside.
Left-handed jump hook is short. They forced him a little farther away from the basket than he wanted to be. Hurd to Swanson, a very difficult floater, and he connects, and he is fouled.
Well, one thing for sure, if you're playing against Tulsa, they're going to play with a lot of intensity for 40 minutes, and you see the activity going to the basket. They catch the defense sleeping. You can't sleep on defense. You got to be alert at all times. Don't take a rest, even if you're on the weak side with all the cutting and slashing of Tulsa. Swanson did an excellent job of catching the defense sleeping that time.
Haywood for Lang on the front line for Bill Guthridge's North Carolina team. Swanson going for a 3-point play and his 6th point of the game, and that matches the high for Tulsa. 26-23.
Well, watch the pressure by Greg Harrington, and they'll deny Ed Cota. They'll deny the perimeters. Cota did a good job of getting open, though. Takes the shot from 3, and
batted out by Haywood. Forte from the corner for 3, and it's tied again. 26 with 4 to go in the first half.
Forte been relatively quiet the last few minutes. He needs to exercise his talents if the Tar Heels are going to be complete.
Forte with 9 points to lead North Carolina. Hurd, and it's Peppers blocking out and latching on to another rebound for North Carolina, and here comes Forte.
For those of you watching good defense, watch Tony Hurd on Ed Cota. He's really trying to deny.
Cota can't get inside, denied, and with a good defense, he traveled. 8th turnover for Tulsa. 3:35 left in the first half. Texas with the CBS Sports Line statistic, and Tulsa, despite the fact they are undersized, have outscored the Tar Heels in the paint by 6.
When you play a man-to-man, you're going to be moving a lot on defense, and that's where Tulsa has been able to capitalize. And you look at the 2 big guys for North Carolina, Chris Lang and Brendan Haywood have not been effective, and I'm sure fatigue is going to be a factor.
And of course, Chris Lang's condition, spraining the ankle in the early minutes of the game. Tied at 26 with 3.5 minutes to play in this first half.
North Carolina has gone to the zone the last few defensive possessions, and it's been pretty successful. Tulsa would rather play an up-tempo game, but they'll find a way eventually with Coley over the top or driving in the gaps to break the zone.
This is Marcus Hill, the left-hander. Davis inside, but he can't get it away from North Carolina's Brendan Haywood.
Well, it makes it very difficult to box someone out, because when you're in the zone, you're playing areas, and with the athletic ability of Tulsa, they still can find gaps to rebound.
Into Haywood. Kevin Johnson now the postman defensively for Tulsa. Forte, what a move by the sensational freshman who played for Morgan Wooten at DeMatha High School.
They're such a mature player. He realizes that they're not getting anything in size, and the only way they're going to be effective is he can take them off the dribble.
Tony Hurd with a tray, and it's Tulsa by 3.
Tony Hurd, just the toughest player on Tulsa's team. He and Eric Coley, but when it comes to competition and competitive toughness, Tony Hurd always wants to play the tough guys.
He's got the scowl of a boxer, doesn't he?
He does.
Haywood, Dakota slips along the baseline, and North Carolina back in front 30-29 as it seesaws throughout this entire first half.
I had a chance to talk to Phil Ford over the week about Ed Cota, and he said Ed Cota must score. He has the ability, but doesn't look to score as much against Tulsa. And from here on out, he's got to think score.
Cota has 4 points. Swanson with the ball has 6 off the bench for Tulsa. Haywood above the crowd to embrace another rebound. 1.5 minutes to go. 4 rebounds for the 7-footer Haywood.
Well, the zone is working for North Carolina, and that's what you want to do against Tulsa. You want to get them into a set type of a game. North Carolina has slowed the tempo down, and Brendan Haywood is starting to assert himself on the defensive end, altering shots and getting the aggressive rebound.
Forte's miss, rebounded by Charlie Davis. Hurd beat the defense back and has another tray. 5 points for Tony Hurd. No, they're going to call that a 2. Foot on the line. So it's 31-30 Tulsa.
Another guy starting to exert himself, and you're right, Dick. They're getting that ball up before the zone can get set, and they're getting up the shots that are there for them.
25 seconds between the shot clock and game clock, and Peppers can't handle the lob from Cota. Turnover to Tulsa. Denzoil at the half coming up. Greg and Clark will have a preview of the Gators and the Cowboys, and an inside look at Oklahoma State sensational Desmond Mason. Timeout with 41 seconds remaining in the first half, and the University of Tulsa leads North Carolina 31-30. The Tulsa Golden Hurricane. There are the fans at the Reynolds Center in Tulsa, and nervously enjoying a 1-point Tulsa lead, 31-30. 41 seconds left in this opening half. We've had 11 lead changes. Tulsa's biggest advantage 6. North Carolina's largest lead 3.
And one good thing about this ball club for North Carolina is they have been able to keep it close. Tulsa's capable of getting out to big starts, and North Carolina's kept this game close, and that works into their favor as they stay in this zone and slow down the tempo.
The long shot is short. Comes out to Julius Peppers, as unable to hit was Tony Hurd. And so North Carolina with a game clock off. Shot clock off. Will go for the final shot and the possible lead at the intermission. And Cota, he's going to distribute it. Gets it to Lang with 4 seconds. Blocked beautifully by Charlie Davis. The long shot off the front of the rim by Tony Hurd from about 55 feet. And that's the end of a very exciting and entertaining opening half. They go to the locker rooms with Tulsa leading North Carolina 31-30. Spencer?
All right, Coach, you're being out-rebounded, but you're winning the points in the paint. You've got to be pleased with that.
Well, considering the foul trouble, I was real pleased. We were able to get to halftime with Eric and Brandon only having 2, and that was a big key when David picked up his 3rd.
Yesterday, you told me you needed to make this game ugly, particularly at the point. You've done that so far.
I think we've been successful in that regard.
All right, congratulations. Good luck to you in the second half.
And that is the end of the first half, with Tulsa leading North Carolina by 1. CBS's exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA basketball.
Once again, everyone, welcome to Pennzoil at the half. Our score after 20 minutes in Austin. Tulsa leading by 1, 31-30. Greg Gumbel in our studios in New York, along with Clark Kellogg and Coach Bobby Cremins. Only a 1-point difference. North Carolina shooting the lights out, but they have turned the ball over 9 times, and that's killing them.
Greg, North Carolina went with the small lineup. They're splitting Haywood and Lang. They need to get Tulsa in foul trouble. I think they need to play both big guys in the second half.
Yeah, you're a coach. What do you know?
There's so much good stuff going on. This is an analyst's dream. I mean, you've got the contrasting styles. I think for Tulsa to be able to pull away, they're going to have to get a surge defensively, and that means to me taking the ball out of Ed Cota's hands. He's done a great job keeping the ball in his hands. On Carolina's side, they need other guys, Forte and Capel, to make basketball plays against that pressure defense by Tulsa.
All right, we talked about Forte before the game began. He has 11 points. Now, coming up next, the East Regional Final between Florida and Oklahoma State. And for more on that matchup, let's go to Syracuse, where Jim Nance and Billy Packer are getting set to call the action.
The East Regional Final Friday night here. Intensity was running high. The players awash with emotions as Florida ousted the #1 ranked team in the country, the Duke Blue Devils. The Gators led by 34-year-old coach Billy Donovan, a young and deep team. Today going against the Oklahoma State Cowboys, led by 6 seniors out of the top 7 players and an old sage on the sidelines, Coach Eddie Sutton. The Florida Gators, the Oklahoma State Cowboys vying for the final ticket to the Final Four for next Saturday's national semifinals in Indianapolis. Jim Nance and
with James Worthy and Spencer Tillman, this is Dick Enberg, going to look at the halftime statistics at the Irwin Center here at the University of Texas. North Carolina shooting 54%, and that turnover, that's the trademark of Tulsa. They had forced 9 turnovers, only 4 for North Carolina. This second half should be something.
Boy, it's going to be even hotter than the first half. Surprisingly, Tulsa has more points than North Carolina in the paint. They have 16, and Tulsa has not, however, been able to get out on their fast break. They only have 2 points off of the fast break. North Carolina continuing to shoot the ball well, thanks to Jason Capel, 2 of 4, and Joseph Forte, 5 of 7.
Saw Chris Lang will start the second half. Turned his ankle in the early minutes, but Lang and Haywood inside, the 2 big men for the Tar Heels, each scored only 2 points in the first half, while even though he was straddled with a couple of early fouls, Brandon Kurtz had 8 points, while Haywood gets his first 2 of the second half in the first 10 seconds.
Well, the Tar Heels are not going to stop going inside just because Brendan Haywood only had 2. That time they were able to get it over the top. Brendan Haywood does such a great job of keeping the ball up, keeping Tulsa's defense away from him on the weak side.
Haywood with a block as Coley goes up, and Haywood rejects his second block of the game.
Well, at the end of the half, Brendan Haywood was starting to exert himself, and he's continuing that on the defensive end. He hadn't scored a lot, but his presence is definitely felt under the basket.
Bird having trouble getting the ball inbounds. Finally to Kurtz. North Carolina 32, Tulsa 31. Just underway in the second half.
Well, there's no question that North Carolina has found success with this zone. They ran it about 7 minutes in the first half, and it's working here in the second half as well. A tough miss over the top.
Coley with a jump hook. Forte inside. Lang with a jump hook, and it dances in, and North Carolina with the first 2 baskets of the second half.
And that's the second time he's been able to take advantage of Coley. One was an offensive board. That one was a jump hook. Coley can't match that over the top.
Kurtz can't get off the shot. It's Harrington for 3, and it's not there to Cota in the corner. Here comes North Carolina leading 34-31.
North Carolina has been able to control the tempo. I talked to Coach Gutchers. He said that was going to be critical for this ball game, not to get his players running gun, but look at Forte on the offensive glass.
6 unanswered points to start the second half for North Carolina, and Bill Self at the Tulsa Golden Hurricane calls time. North Carolina with its biggest lead, 36-31.
Lead over North Carolina. I spoke with Bill Guthrie just before the second half. He echoed what Dick and James said. We've got to get back on defense to prevent those fast break opportunities. We've also got to do a better job of handling Kurtz. He had a tremendous first half.
All right, thank you, Spencer. Bill Guthridge. It's not been an easy year for him, and the Tar Heel fans were very critical of a club that went 18-13, finished 9-7 in the conference, but they're making amends here in the tournament. Off to a great start here in the second half. Kurtz not there. Rebound, Capel. So one shot for Tulsa on their 4 trips, and all were misses, and North Carolina scoring each time at the other end.
Well, the zone has given North Carolina a collective effort on the rebounding edge, and Tulsa cannot use their quickness against North Carolina's man-to-man. The zone has been effective.
There's the 10th turnover for Tulsa. Hurd to Harrington. Hurd inside. Back to Harrington for 3. Kurtz with a second chance. No whistle, and the rebound to Forte. So Tulsa cold to start this second half.
Tulsa's had some good looks at the bucket, particularly Harrington. He's missed a couple of threes. They've got some offensive boards. They haven't been able to convert. North Carolina, on the other hand, has found some confidence in the zone defense.
Haywood with Kurtz. Tulsa 0 for 5 at the start of the second half. There's the hook by Haywood, and the rebound to Coley of Tulsa.
Very important for North Carolina not to get complacent. There's a little push-out foul by Chris Lang at top.
Lang with a foul. That's his first. One number 8 team, James Worthy, has already advanced as the big surprise to the Final Four. Dick Bennett's University of Wisconsin Badgers, number 6 in the Big Ten, and they're in the Final Four. Boy, how thrilled they are up in the state of Wisconsin.
And I'll tell you what, you know, they're very happy. They've gone to the Rose Bowl. Now they have a team in the Final Four, and those who are familiar with the game of basketball know it's no secret what Coach Bennett has done up in Wisconsin. That's a solid program.
Coley kept the ball alive, then Kurtz with a rebound. Back to Kurtz against Haywood and draws the foul. That'll be the third on Brendan Haywood.
Well, Tulsa finding out how to manipulate the North Carolina zone, and they're getting the ball inside with some good interior passes. Brendan Haywood and Chris Lang not as quick as Cota and Forte and Capels on the perimeter. They're good shot blockers, but they're having trouble with the interior passes.
Kurtz trying to end the drought to open this second half. 3 minutes 24 seconds, and Tulsa yet to score. There it is, his 9th point to make it 36-32.
And a lot of people are aware of Tulsa's stingy defense, but North Carolina, a pretty good defensive team themselves. In the last game against Tennessee, they held them to 1 bucket the last 7 minutes of that game, so they're known for clamping down as well.
Kurtz, 1 out of 2. He had 17 points and 10 rebounds, a double-double in the Miami win.
Tulsa sticking to their man-to-man. Now there's the pressure. They'll try to get working around to Brendan Haywood.
Back out to Capel for 3. Rebound Kurtz. Oh, he's a workhorse for the Golden Hurricane. His 5th rebound.
Coley's been relatively quiet, and he's seeking the ball inside. Forte with the rebound.
Almost threw it away and did. Coley converts it into a basket, and that's Tulsa at its best, with Coley, the all-time thief in Tulsa and WAC history, coming up with a big steal.
Well, he's known as the thief of Baghdad when he gets his ball on the defensive end, but he's trying to post up Chris Lang because he knows he needs to be more offensive-minded.
Harrington with a foul at midcourt, his first. Eric Coley, those long arms and quick reactions, he earns the 2.
You'll get a $50 certificate toward the ball or any other sports gear from MVP.com. Go to Oldsmobile.com for details. Then drive the car and get the ball.
Financial goals require solutions. Dreams deserve dedication. Success demands performance. If there's something you want to achieve, the principal has one word of advice. Plan ahead, get ahead. The Principal Financial Group.
Who's the fastest growing major provider of e-business servers? The company that runs one of the best e-businesses around. Coincidence? We don't think so. Dell knows how he works. Visit Dell.com.
Enterprise Rent-A-Car. When you call us, we don't just pick up the phone. We pick you up.
This is great.
Thank you.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Sunday, April 9th, CBS presents a live television event. Richard Dreyfuss, Brian Dennehy, Harvey Keitel, Noah Wiley, and George Clooney in the most powerful movie of the year. Failsafe, a live television event. CBS Sunday, April 9th.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Oldsmobile, Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and by the Intel Pentium 3 processor.
A little over 1,000 miles from Tulsa, Oklahoma is Indianapolis. And a look at the Microsoft data bank of the teams still alive. North Carolina has made a record-tying 14 Final Four appearances. UCLA also with 14. Michigan State goes for the 4th time. Oklahoma State a chance to go for the 4th time. And Wisconsin is there for the 2nd. Florida looks for its 2nd chance. And Tulsa here in the Elite Eight for the first time, looking for that magic of the Final Four. But their 2 top scorers, Shelton and Coley, are on the bench with 4 personal fouls.
And that's not good. However, Tulsa's defense is quick enough and good enough to still create some problems for North Carolina, but you definitely need your leading scorer and your toughest and most athletic and leader player in Eric Coley on the floor.
11 minutes left. North Carolina by 2, down to 10 seconds on the shot clock. Forte, stop and fire, not there. Hurd has it knocked away by Forte. Great recovery by the freshman, and he gets it out to Haywood. And Haywood calling timeout. 10:48 left in the second half. Tar Heels 41, Hurricane 39.
Introducing the Isuzu 10-year, 120,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You want to drive your SUV around town all day? You're covered. You want to take it to the most treacherous backcountry you can find? Be our guest. You want to drive it off a cliff? Well, that's where the limited and limited warranty comes in. America's longest warranty. It covers most everything you do. Except, of course, the cliff thing.
In Austin, Texas, with North Carolina leading 41-39, and Bill Guthridge's team trying to get out from behind the 8 ball. The number 8 seed to make it to the Final Four. UCLA went on to the finals, lost to Louisville in 80. Villanova and Raleigh Massimino won the title as the number 8 seed 15 years ago, and Wisconsin already making their reservations in the capital city of Indiana.
In the one in 1985, I remember distinctively Villanova over John Thompson and Patrick Ewing, the dominance of Georgetown. That was a big upset in 85.
Number 8 seed North Carolina, number 7 seed Tulsa in a 2-point game with 10:40 left in the second half. And a new 35 seconds. The ball kicked by Swanson.
And the question now is, can North Carolina take advantage of Tulsa's without Shelton and Coley in the ball game? The defense of Tulsa is good regardless, but Carolina must find a way to take advantage.
Sophomore D'Angelo McDaniel hawking Haywood inside. Haywood spin move, and it's blocked and then knocked out of bounds by Haywood. So here comes Tulsa with a chance to tie or take the lead. Eric Coley reduced to a cheerleader.
Well, look at the weak side help coming over from Kevin Johnson. That's something that Haywood must do. He must go immediately, because if he sits in there and waits for the defense, he'll be blindsided from the weak side.
Kevin Johnson is only 6'7", giving away 5 inches to Haywood, but with a big block.
No one has been able to score here in the last few minutes. There's a shot from the top of the key by Johnson on the miss.
Boy, does that Peppers go up for a 270-pounder.
I mean, look at his calves, and it looks like he has a pogo sticks in there. He really can get up for a guy that size. And I remember playing pickup ball with Lawrence Taylor, and he was another guy with a lot of agility, and it must transfer over from football to basketball, and they must help each other.
Coda's miss taken by Greg Harrington, trying to go coast to coast, and Capel didn't travel, although he was scooting underneath as he brought in the rebound.
Well, he kept that pivot foot down as he rotated his body around, but North Carolina nor Tulsa has been able to penetrate the defense, and that's with Eric Coley and Shelton out of the game for Tulsa.
Tulsa last basket was 5 minutes ago, and yet they trail by only 2. Forte short on the tray. Swanson slips down court to tie it up. Less than 9 minutes to go. Tied at 41.
Well, Fortes has some good looks, but I think sometimes you have to pump fake and drive to the basket if you're not hitting the outside shot.
And a whistle inside. The foul will be on Johnson of Tulsa, the freshman from Missouri City near Houston. Here's an interesting story. Homeschooled since the 5th grade, as we see the changes made. Johnson, and actually played on the Homeschool Christian Youth Association Warriors for 4 years. So from homeschool now to the bench, Kevin Johnson. He's a valued freshman with Tulsa. At the line, Julius Peppers. Peppers just an average free throw shooter, 57%. You want to see him in action? Watch number 49, the defensive end at 6'7" and 275 pounds, terrorizing opposing quarterbacks. Peppers with a couple of his 6 sacks that led the Tar Heels, and he made the first-team freshman All-America. Hits both free throws, and he had been averaging only 57%. Chris Lang will replace him. 6 points and 6 rebounds for Peppers. Those are the exact numbers he registered in the Tennessee win Friday night.
Well, with his size, you would think he wouldn't have the agility or the finesse, but he can show you both. He can show you the physical game, and when he has to, he can finesse it a little.
Inside to Kurtz. Batted away by Forte. Coda 2-on-1. Forte takes it in. And North Carolina leads 45-41. 19 for the freshman Forte.
One of the few fast break points for either team, but Carolina getting their hands on the basketball inside too, deflecting.
And Forte made the steal and earned that easy two. Having trouble holding on to it in the lane, and Coda's got the quickest hands, and here come the Tar Heels.
They have numbers.
Kurt Lang is blocked by the much shorter Marcus Hill, and Hill takes it the other way and draws the foul from Forte. Second on Forte. North Carolina 45, Tulsa 41, less than 8 to go in Austin. Back with our game summary. Shooting percentages down. North Carolina leading by 4. Bill Self, his parents here to cheer him on. His dad, a former coach and former director of the Oklahoma High School Athletic Association. He coached the girls team in Morris, Oklahoma to the state championship, and his mother next to Bill Sr. there, English teacher in the 9th grade. So that gives young Bill, the coach on the sidelines, the whole package.
I'll tell you, if Bill Self put on a pair of spectacles, they could be twins almost. They look very much alike.
Tulsa with a 4-point deficit at the 7:45 mark. Inside to the little man Swanson, who is producing. Up high is Forte at 6'4". to pick off his 8th rebound. What a game Forte, the freshman, has had for North Carolina. He's been their star.
Well, I think the key word is maturation. This young kid has been around before. He's not playing like a freshman. Swanson getting a good look. That's about the only good look they're going to get in that zone. They must knock that down inside the paint.
Chewing up some clock now in this possession, down to 13. And there's the steal by Hurd, and Coda takes it right back. Capel having trouble, finally clears it out, and the clock ticks down to the 7-minute mark, and Forte hit from behind, and the foul will be on number number 12, Dante Swanson, his first.
What great recognition and instinct by Ed Cota. He turned the ball over for a steal, was able to anticipate the pass down court, get it back for North Carolina. Forte, though, the player that's really starting to be aggressive. He's looking for the basketball. He's been able to find his shots. And as quick as Tulsa is, they have not been able to deal with the smooth play of Joseph Forte.
Peppers returns for Lang. You saw Eric Coley back in now for Tulsa. 20 points for this sensational freshman. Scored more points than Perkins, and now with his scoring in the tournament, he's going to pass Phil Ford as the highest scoring freshman in North Carolina history and the first freshman to ever lead the Tar Heels in scoring.
And I tell you, that system has come a long way. There's rarely a freshman that comes in and scores a lot of points his first year. It's just never been a part of North Carolina's system. Shows you how they've changed over the years.
Sheldon in the game, can't hit the three, and there's Peppers ripping down another rebound, defying Tulsa to get it from him.
Tulsa has not been able to get the tempo going. North Carolina slowed them down with the zone, and then they're executing extremely well.
Forte feeling it, and he gets it again. 23. That's a good number for a North Carolina shooter. 23 points for Forte, and North Carolina celebrates its biggest lead.
Airbags, a steel safety cage, and a whiplash protection seating system. All the safety you'd expect in a Volvo, at a price you may not. Introducing the Volvo S40.
Great walk, huh, Jake? You're next, Carl.
6:27 remaining in this second half, and North Carolina, typical of their play. This is what they did against Stanford and again against Tennessee in the second half, middle of the second half. A spurt, a scoring spurt, and this 19-year-old Joseph Forte has been the leader of this comeback Carolina team.
And you know, Ed Cota, the leader of this ball club right now, he's going to be leaving after this year, and you know who the man is going to be. He's already feeling the fact that this is going to be his team next year. Forte, the future for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, they might just want him to play point guard. Huh?
I think he'd do well at it, work on his ball handling skills. No one can stop him at the point guard position. He handles it.
Harrington inside. Kurtz, and Tulsa needs a bucket. Coley couldn't get inside. Kurtz. Oh, this defense from North Carolina underrated, and they forced the turnover. A lot of talk about the size and the comeback and the tough season and the offensive shooting, but not many raves for North Carolina's defense, but that's why they're here today.
There's no question about it. They haven't scored well this year, but they have rebounded and defended, and there's Forte from three.
And Capel able to get the rebound, and another chance for North Carolina.
And North Carolina was able to hold Tulsa to just a stingy percentage in the first half. Forte
handles the ball so well and can create for himself. Down to 15 now on the shot clock. 5.5 minutes left in the game. Haywood over Kurtz. And another basket for North Carolina, and they're opened a 10-point lead. Biggest for either team.
Well, North Carolina is a down-the-stretch ball club. They've exemplified and showed that against Missouri, against Stanford, and against Tennessee, that they play well down the stretch. There's Coley over the top with a bank.
And a nice kiss for Coley, and Tulsa desperately needed that basket. 6 for Coley, 51-43.
But if you've noticed the tempo in this half, it's been controlled by Ed Cota, even though Tulsa's trying to pressure. Forte
on the run, he scores again. 25 for Forte. And that is his all-time high. No, he's too shy of his best ever against Virginia as a freshman.
Well, if you want to beat the pressure, you got to get the ball in the middle of the floor. And that's what Forte is. Cota is being pressured. They're breaking Capels and Forte to the middle. And from there, they're attacking the defense of Tulsa.
At Tar Heel blue and the pom-poms now as the fans stand cheering North Carolina. Haywood, that's not the shot that Guthridge would have wanted him to take.
Well, you don't want to get excited. You don't want to play outside of your game. That time Haywood was a little bit far out. There's Hurd.
Tony Hurd, a hopeful three for Tulsa. 53-46.
We want to talk about coaching. You look at Bill Self now. He's giving instructions almost every play along with Coach Guthridge. That's what you call coaching on your feet. You throw the game plan away, and it's all experience.
Down to the 3:45 mark. Hurd comes out on Forte. Jason Capel with Hill into Haywood. Kurtz bumping him. 10 on the shot clock.
Got to look for someone else other than Haywood. Now, Capel, and there's the guy that needs the ball with 4 seconds left. He's got to go.
Forces the shot. And the rebound to Kurtz. Trailing by 7. Golden Hurricane. 3:20 left in the second half. Harrington. And the block will be on Peppers of North Carolina, his third. And with it a timeout, 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. North Carolina 53, Tulsa 46.
Hold it right there, Tooth Fairy.
Hand over the bag and no one gets hurt.
How do you plan on paying off your bills? A Conseco home equity loan can consolidate your debt into one low payment. Conseco, step up.
This is a celebration of performance, athletic performance, and Pontiac performance. As an official sponsor of the 2000 U.S. Olympic team, Pontiac is celebrating with the Pontiac Performance Event. Get 2.9% APR on Bonneville SE. Pontiac owners get an additional loyalty offer. You'll also get a chance to win a trip to see the 2000 U.S. Olympic team compete in Sydney. Just log on to Pontiac.com or call to enter and you could be there. Hey, your opportunity to experience exciting performance is here.
There's nothing going on here tonight.
Ever notice if you rub your eyes for a while, you start to see little stars and stuff? You see?
No, I don't see anything.
You gotta rub harder.
Red dots, okay? Is that what I'm saying? This is great.
Wait. You see it?
Oh, yeah.
I got flashes.
Whoa.
I see blurry blobs, 2 of them.
Ooh, lightning. It's like a French painting.
Big night out.
Tiny amoebas marching together.
Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
It's on me, guys.
Thanks. See, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
How far do you have to go to be the best on Earth? A long, long way. Introducing an all-new ATV with Honda's legendary reliability. Available with push-button shifting and 4-wheel drive. The new Honda Rancher for the ranch we call Earth.
The government spent a fortune building the ultimate man.
Perfect.
Now a scientist wants to sell him off piece by piece.
Welcome to my little chop shop.
And here's a sample of the all-around talent of Joseph Forte.
Well, Dick, I got to tell you, Joseph Forte reminds me of a freshman that I played against. And no, it's not Buzz Peterson. It's not Jimmy Braddock. I know who. You got it. It's Michael Jordan. In fact, if Michael's listening, I think Forte's a little bit ahead of him as a freshman right now. A little bit smoother than Michael as a freshman. Michael was a little bit raw. I had to teach Michael a few things.
He'll be up all night practicing his drive. You keep that up with Michael Jordan.
If I had to play with Forte, I wouldn't have had to teach him anything, but I had to teach Michael a couple of things there after practice.
A tournament high for Forte and 2 points below his season high. With the score, 53-46. Play resumes. 3 minutes, 15 seconds. Plenty of time for Tulsa, but they need to be productive on each turn. Hurd is short. Look at Coley get up and take it away from Cota.
Yeah, Cota had that rebound, but Eric Cota came from nowhere to snatch that one out of the air.
Kurtz. And the tip by Coley, and finally controlled by Haywood of North Carolina. Less than 3 minutes. 7-point Tar Heel lead.
Control, that is the key word for the Tar Heels. Not to protect the lead, but control and execution.
Ooh, Peppers almost threw it away. Capel saved him. This defense has been the story for North Carolina, holding Tulsa to 20% shooting in the second half. 20%. Inside to Haywood. Maneuvering Kurtz, right hand, not there. Haywood gets it back. 6 points for Brendan Haywood and a 9-point lead.
And he's holding his leg a little bit. He seems to be okay, but it looked like he may have pulled it a little bit as he ran down on defense.
Kurtz at the other end with the answer. Brandon Kurtz for Tulsa. 55-48. Timeout. 2 minutes, 4 seconds left. The winner goes to Indy.
Our need to communicate, to learn, to be in touch has spawned products of genius. Today, Microsoft continues this progression, creating tools that empower, tools that multiply our possibilities, taking us to places we've never been, where discovery and achievement transcend anything we have known. Where do you find companies fostering growth on so many levels? Exactly. NASDAQ, stock market for the digital world.
And the taller Tar Heels, as expected, with a +9 over Tulsa. For complete game stats, go to cbs.sportsline.com. And the leading rebounder for North Carolina, Haywood with 8 and Forte with 8. For Tulsa, 9 for Brandon Kurtz.
And when you compare an athletic player like Eric Coley to Forte, they're a little bit similar as well, because Forte has a knack for where the basketball is going to be, good with steals. And Eric Coley, we know, is a dominant basketball player as far as having a nose for where the ball is.
Dante Swanson is in, and there's the turnover. Hurd picks it off, but it was Swanson who shoots and scores, who set up the steal. 55-50. 1 point.
Because if you put it on the floor, Tulsa's going to find it.
Julius Peppers brought it in, and here's Forte.
Tony Hurd, a tough competitor. Now he's looking to reach in, but Dakota under control. Not that time. He threw it out of bounds.
1:28 left as Forte kind of threw it between his two teammates, out of control in midair.
Well, Peppers is not used to playing on the perimeter. He's looking to go to the boards. Forte got stuck in the air. You can't leave your feet if you're trying to pass the basketball.
Pass was a little bit too difficult, and Capel came up with a steal for North Carolina. Dakota with Swanson hawking him in the backcourt, and the steal. Swanson, oh my, it's 55-52. 12 points for Swanson off the bench to lead Tulsa. We're in the final minute. North Carolina protecting a 3-point lead.
Well, let me tell you something about Swanson. He is a defensive stopper. He is a specialist at defense, regardless of who's handling the basketball. Ed Cota should be aware.
And timeout is called by Bill Guthridge on the North Carolina bench with 37 seconds left.
Okay, sweetie, on your toes. Swing through the ball. Through it. Eye on the ball, hon. We're working on the forehand. Okay, let's try.
We're back in Austin with our game reset. 55-52. North Carolina, 37 seconds. Team fouls. Carolina, next foul will send Tulsa to the line. 18 fouls on the Golden Hurricane. The arrow points to Tulsa. 9-2 run for Tulsa, overcoming a 10-point North Carolina lead to cut that to 3. Tar Heel ball. They've got 14 to shoot.
And Tulsa's in that desperation defense, which is tough. You got to move the basketball, not by dribbling, but by passing.
And Swanson's been the star defensively, and with 12 points, the leading scorer. He is their David against the North Carolina Goliath. And it's off the foot. And they're going to call that a kick, so that's a big call because the new 35, and so the shot clock is off. 28 seconds to play.
And I disagree with that call. Cota was trying to throw the pass and accidentally hit the foot of Swanson.
Bill Self didn't like it either. We'll be right back.
Can you tell them to keep it down at least?
Could you keep it down just a bit?
No, Jack, sorry. We've just heard from our analysts in Asia about a possible interruption in chip production, which may cause a dip in tech stocks here. But we'll let you know in the morning.
Something about dips and chips.
ML.com, the smartest place to invest online.
55-52 North Carolina. Tar Heels with the ball, 28 seconds. And following this telecast and going back to New York for updates, highlights, it'll be on to Florida, Oklahoma State in the Eastern Regional Final.
Well, here's the last call. Cota does a good job of trying to get the ball inside, and it does look like Swanson extended his right leg out to prevent the pass, and that would reset the shot clock.
Yeah, that was a good call. So North Carolina plays it in. The percentage-wise, the poorest free throw shooter is Julius Peppers. Forte is one of the better shooters, and Greg Harrington fouls him to stop the clock at 26.5.
Well, the key for North Carolina is just getting the ball in bounds and getting the ball up the court without a 10-second violation, because Tulsa has put themselves in a position now where they must foul. If they can foul, well, Peppers is out of the ball game right now, but they'll be looking to foul the worst free throw shooter, but they must stop the clock.
Joseph Xavier Forte looks for his 26th point. 56-52. North Carolina did not have a 4-game winning streak all year. If they win today, it'll be 4 in a row. And Forte matches his high for the season, 27. Swanson fires. Boy, has he played well. 15 for Dante Swanson. The 5'10 freshman keeps Tulsa alive.
We are go for launch. Thrusters engaged.
Want to be an astronaut? Enter the Pennzoil Synthetic Mission to Mars sweepstakes. Buy 6 quarts of Pennzoil Synthetic with Penzane, then mail in for tickets to see Touchstone Pictures' Mission to Mars. And you're automatically entered to win a grand prize trip to outer space.
Appears to be a geological anomaly. Ho!
Honey, I need to get in there.
Access denied.
Enter the Mission to Mars sweepstakes from Pennzoil Synthetic. It's rocket science for your car.
Under 21 seconds remaining. It's important to note Tulsa without a timeout left. North Carolina has one. The next foul by Tulsa sends North Carolina to the line with 2 shots.
And the thing is that with the possession arrow in favor of Tulsa, they can be a little bit more risky in trying to create a jump ball situation, because they already have to commit a foul if North Carolina gets it in. So creating a jump ball is very important for Bill Self's team right now.
Capel having trouble, and knocked out of bounds by Greg Harrington, and the count was at 4 seconds. So another try by Capel, and this is where Tulsa shows its strength.
Well, you would think they try to throw it over the top to Haywood, but with the jumping ability of Coley, excuse me, they don't really have that option.
Coley has to foul, didn't want to because he has 4. That sends him out with his 5th, but had to stop the clock. 18 seconds left. 6 points for Eric Coley, disappointed, hoping now that this isn't his last game in a Tulsa uniform. What a terrific young man. He lost his mother 2 years ago. He's battled with that loss, still feels it deeply. Uncle taught him the rodeo tricks. He loves horses, rides so well that he's even thinking if he can't make it beyond this in basketball, that he'll try the rodeo professionally.
Well, from what I understand, he is a original cowboy, and if you're looking for a role model, I mean, forget him being a star athlete. This young man has a lot of character and will do well in life regardless of what he does.
To the line now, Cota. Carolina leads by 2. How big is this free throw? He gets 2. And he's going to need 2. So that means that Tulsa will get a chance if they can get it down court. Even if he makes this one, a 3 would tie. And there's plenty of time, 18 seconds. Now, how big? Huge. It'll take a three-pointer to tie it. And they've got 3 excellent outside shooters.
Well, the question is, will they try an intentional foul before the 3 goes up?
Rebound, Capel. Seconds tick away. Forte fouled with 4.1 seconds remaining. So Joseph Forte, who has led this maligned North Carolina team, carrying them through this tournament with his great play, and has saved the best for this regional final. 6 for 6 from the line, 27 points in the game, the best scoring freshman in North Carolina history.
And Ed Cota just walked over to the table and told me to tell his father happy birthday, as if this was his father's gift for his birthday. So, Mr. Cota, if you're listening, your son just came over and said happy birthday, and he hopes to give you a victory in just about 4 seconds.
Forte needs his free throw, or Tulsa will have a chance for a desperation 3 to tie. That should seal the doom of this spirited Golden Hurricane team that played so well. The long pass. Harrington with the 3, and the game is over. The champions of the South Regional, the improbable Tar Heels of North Carolina, a team that had only 3-game winning streak, was the longest all season. They were crying for Bill Guthridge's scalp. They didn't feel he was capable. He's proved a lot of fans and critics wrong. His team ready to play. They came in as the number 8 seed, and they go to Indianapolis representing the South, winning today 59-55. The Chevrolet Most Valuable Players of the Game, Forte of North Carolina with his career-high 28. This freshman with 3 great seasons ahead. Brandon Kurtz, despite foul trouble, 11 points and 9 rebounds inside for the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. So, on to Indianapolis. The North Carolina Tar Heels to meet either Oklahoma State or the University of Florida. That game to follow here on CBS. So for James Worthy and Spencer Tillman, this is Dick Enberg. So long from Austin. North Carolina headed to the Final Four. We'll join Greg Gumbel and Clark Kellogg, get you caught up on all the tournament news right after these messages.
Nothing like fun.
Meanwhile, the North Carolina Tar Heels have won the South. Let's send you back to Austin. Dick Enberg and James Worthy. Dick.
All right, Greg, it's a topsy-turvy year, a number 8 seed. North Carolina, this quality thoroughbred in college basketball history. This horse just laid back and ran down the stretch a little later than some of your other teams. Congratulations, Bill.
Thanks, Dick and James. I'm so proud of these guys and happy for them. They did a tremendous job. We beat a very good Tulsa team. They're very well coached, and we're just thrilled to death.
But, Coach, they knew the criticism that you were under this whole year. People weren't very nice to you, even your fans. And I think in many ways this was their way of saying how much they respect you.
I appreciate it, and we're thrilled.
Well, Coach, you know you have a young freshman here, and Joseph Forte. Kind of reminds you of Michael Jordan. Joseph, you picked it up when needed, some offensive boards and some big buckets. How does it feel to be going to the Final Four your freshman year?
It feels great. You can only dream about this, and I'm glad it could come true.
Well, Ed Code has been there 2 other times. They say you're the quiet man. Maybe I shouldn't ask you a question. How you feeling?
Feel great right now. I'm happy for the freshmen and sophomores to experience the Final Four. It was a hell of a game. Tulsa played an excellent game, but we played hard and we pulled it out.
What happened here? What turned this around in the tournament?
Well, we just became a team, man. We started playing together and just doing the things that Coach Gut wanted us to do, and we finally just got it together, and it couldn't be a better time for this.
Congratulations to Bill Guthridge and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Now back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, right, Dick, thanks very much. You know, so far in this tournament, we've seen old favorites advance. We've seen surprises advance. And in North Carolina, I think you see a little of both of those aspects in the North Carolina Tar Heels. We still have one more slot to fill in the Final Four, and it'll come out of the East. Will it be Florida? Will it be Oklahoma State? We'll continue to travel the road to the Final Four in just a moment.
Who's your friend, Mark?
He's a venture capitalist.
Oh, you still trying to trademark the .and .com?
Okay, if I can get just a little investment from you, this is a go. I'll take that as a yes. Mom, I gotta send an email here. I need an upgrade.
You need a data port.
Yes.
What's this look like, sweetie? A Holiday Inn?
Data ports, meeting rooms, business services. Holiday Inn gives you more, and more is better.
What's my investment strategy?
Happiness abounds in Austin, Texas. You know, we were all surprised when 8th seed Wisconsin moved on to the Final Four, and lo and behold, 8th seed North Carolina is there too now. With a 21-13 record, Joseph Forte certainly picked a good time to post a career high, didn't he?
Well, we highlighted a couple of keys prior to the start of the game. One was Tulsa being forced to play a half-court game. I thought North Carolina did that with the zone defense. And the other thing was somebody else on the perimeter was going to have to step in and help out Ed Cota. Obviously, Forte did that.
Coach?
North Carolina accomplished getting Tulsa in foul trouble. Brendan Haywood's my MVP, Greg. He blocked shots, he rebounded, he took charges, and he scored.
All right, so we have a champion of the South region. That leaves a champion of the East to decide. That'll take place in Syracuse coming up about 15 minutes from now. Let's check in with the gentleman calling the action for you there, Jim Nance and Billy Packer. Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Greg. Yes, we have only 5 teams still in the chase for the national championship. 1 ticket remains. Will it go to Florida or Oklahoma State? Billy Packer is alongside. Billy, we have contrasting styles here in this East Regional Final today.
We have a coach that's coached more years than the other guy has been on this earth, but we also have contrasting styles of play. Florida wants to up-tempo, press all over the floor. Oklahoma State, they would like to be a team playing half-court at a time.
There are some health concerns for Oklahoma State, and let's get more on that with Bonnie Bernstein. Bonnie?
All right, well, Jim, interestingly enough, Florida coach Billy Donovan said one of the keys to beating Oak State today would be to wear out some of the senior starters as quickly as possible and force some of the younger, less experienced guys into the game. That might happen sooner than anybody's expecting because 2 of the Cowboys have come down with the stomach flu in the last 2 days. After Friday's game, Frederick Gunzian wasn't feeling too good. He actually was put on an IV for about an hour yesterday just to try to rehydrate him. And then yesterday, Coach Eddie Sutton told me Brian Montani got sick too. He didn't need to go on an IV, just not feeling well. Either one of those players ate for dinner last night was chicken noodle soup, and Coach Sutton was telling me both of them are pretty weak, although they will start, Jim.
All right, Bonnie, let's take a look at the 3 teams that have their tickets punched for Indianapolis. We'll begin with the first qualifier, the Wisconsin Badgers, an 8 seed. We have 2 8s, Billy, and a 1 so far qualified for the Final Four.
Let me remind people about Wisconsin. Since February the 2nd, they have lost 3 games, all to the same team, a team called Michigan State. I'll take you back to '88. Kansas lost to Oklahoma time and time again. So is there something in the win there?
So Michigan State will be the Badgers' opponent next Saturday in the national semifinals. And boy, have they come on at the end of the last 2 games against Syracuse and then Iowa State yesterday.
Jim, I love their toughness and their competitiveness. It starts with the coach, goes to Mateen Cleaves, and right on down the lineup. This is a tough team to knock out.
And it's a team, by the way, that beat North Carolina in Chapel Hill in the Tar Heels home opener without Cleaves. It's the first time Carolina had lost a home opener in over 70 years. But there they are, also with 13 losses. These 2 with 13 losses, North Carolina and Wisconsin, the first 2 teams ever to go to the Final Four with that many losses.
This team does not surprise me they're there. They surprise me they have 13 losses. A lot of talent at North Carolina.
All right, Florida, Oklahoma State, hoping to be that 4th team. Right now, let's send you back to New York and to Greg Gumbel.
All right, Jim and Billy, thanks very much. Hail to the number 8 seeds who are now 10-2 in the NCAA tournament. A timeout here, and then more as we head toward the East Regional Final in Syracuse in just a moment.
Just when you thought it was safe to leave your car in the parking lot, something evil will strike. You need a car tough enough to take it on. Chevy Malibu. With a steel safety cage, breakaway mirrors, a 6-layer paint process, and bounce-back bumpers, it's one tough car. Chevy Malibu. We'll be there.
Una chela?
Chela? Yeah, I'll never understand Mexican women.